Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down Ramit Sethi's contrarian, highly actionable approach to personal finance from his blockbuster book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Look, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by budgeting or maybe felt guilty about spending money on the things you actually love, or if you're just paralyzed by the sheer number of investment options out there, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to tear down that traditional financial advice, the kind that relies entirely on restricting yourself and sheer willpower, and we're going to replace it with robust, fully automated systems.
Right off the bat, let's hit you with a massive paradigm shift straight from Sethi that completely shatters traditional money myths. We are constantly fed this narrative that renting is just throwing money away, right? That you aren't truly successful until you own a home. But as Sethi points out, when you actually factor in things like inflation, interest rates, and low housing supply, those old adages just do not hold up anymore. I mean, he's faced pure confusion from guests visiting his rented New York apartment simply because they literally couldn't fathom how a personal finance expert could be a renter. But the truth is, building wealth isn't about blindly following outdated rules. It is all about intentionality.
So here is the exact roadmap we're using today to build your guilt-free financial system. We'll hit 5 steps: defining your rich life, structuring a conscious spending plan, automating your finances, simple investing, and finally, mastering the psychology of money.
All right, step 1, define your rich life, moving beyond the spreadsheets.
Sethi argues that most financial strategies totally fail because people are just tracking numbers on a spreadsheet without any clear vision. Your money absolutely needs a purpose. So think about this. If someone magically handed you $10,000 today, which of these 10 money dials would you instantly turn all the way up to maximum? Would you dump it into travel, convenience, maybe generosity? Sethi actually narrows down our thousands of daily expenses into these 10 core buckets. The whole idea of a money dial is that you can actively tune it up or down. People might tell you they love health and fitness, but then their credit card statements show they actually prioritize dining out and experiences. And hey, that is perfectly fine. A rich life is about abundance in the areas you truly care about. I mean, if your rich life means being home by 3 p.m. every day to pick up your kids, your financial strategy is going to look vastly different than someone whose rich life involves taking 3 luxury foreign vacations a year.
Moving right along to step 2, the conscious spending plan, math that supports your life.
Okay, so now that you know your money dials, we need a mathematical framework to actually fund them, without the restrictive, soul-crushing nature of traditional budgeting. You want to target this exact breakdown. Keep your fixed costs, so that's your rent, utilities, insurance, to about 55 or 60%. Then 10% goes straight to investments. That's for future you. 8% goes to short-term savings goals, like an emergency fund or maybe a down payment. And here is where the absolute magic happens. 27% is left entirely for guilt-free spending. By keeping your fixed costs tightly controlled, you don't ever have to micromanage every single dollar you drop on a coffee or a weekend trip. You already know your future is fully funded.
Which brings us to step 3, automate your financial infrastructure. Set it and forget it.
We've got the math down, but now we need to completely remove your willpower from the equation. Forcing yourself to make 50 different financial decisions a day just leads straight to analysis paralysis. Sethi quotes the psychologist Barry Schwartz here to explain exactly why traditional budgeting fails. Think about it. If you have to wake up every single day and decide whether to save, what to cut back on, whether to buy index funds or real estate, or checking if you paid the cable bill, you're inevitably going to do nothing. Willpower is a finite resource, guys. The surest path to success is to build a machine where all the right decisions just happen automatically.
To build your automatic money flow, you want to treat your checking account exactly like your email inbox. Your salary lands right there, minus whatever was already automatically deducted for your 401k. Then, let's say around the 5th of every month, your checking account automatically pushes 5% to your Roth IRA and another 5% to your savings, which, by the way, you can break into sub-accounts for things like a wedding or a vacation. After that, your credit card auto-pays your regular bills like Netflix or your gym membership, and then your checking account auto-pays the credit card in full. So whatever is left just sitting there in checking, boom, that's your guilt-free spending money. The whole shebang happens right in the background while you sleep.
And part of optimizing this infrastructure is actually going on the offensive. You can use exact word-for-word scripts to negotiate lower APRs and wipe out bank fees. For example, you literally just call your credit card company and say, "Hi, my name's Ramit. I've been doing some research and came across some other companies that can offer me a better deal. What can you do for me?" Honestly, it takes 10 minutes. Getting late fees waived or APRs lowered keeps your money flowing through your automated system rather than just padding the bank's pockets.
Okay, step 4. Investing. Simple beats sexy, scaling your wealth over time.
Investing is the single biggest wealth-building vehicle in human history. But man, do people overcomplicate it. With your automation securely in place, your strategy just needs to evolve across a few different wealth tiers. So if you only have $1,000 to your name, don't go hunting for magic meme stocks. Put $500 in a high-yield savings account as a buffer, and the other $500 into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund or a target date fund within a Roth IRA. Once you hit the $10,000 tier, now you're playing offense. You make sure to capture every single dollar of your employer's 401k match, because that is literally free money, and you set a hard rule that 75% of any unexpected windfall automatically goes straight to investments. Fast forward to when you hit that $1 million mark, you're actually still using those exact same boring index funds. But your focus shifts over to tax loss harvesting, estate planning, and figuring out what kind of philanthropic legacy you want to build.
And please always remember this. Expensive financial experts rarely beat low-cost, automated index funds or life cycle funds over the long term. There's this huge myth out there that you absolutely need to pay some slick wealth manager a percentage of your assets to get rich. No way! The data clearly shows that actively managed funds fail to beat the market a staggering 75% of the time. Sethi recommends just setting up a life cycle fund, which is basically a fund of funds that automatically diversifies across stocks and bonds based on your age. It's incredibly low cost, requires almost zero maintenance from you, and protects you from the massive drag of active management fees.
Finally, step 5. The psychology of money. Confronting the real cost of inaction.
Look, you can have the most perfect spreadsheets and the absolute best automated systems in the world, but if you're carrying around toxic invisible scripts about money, you will remain totally stuck. Take Stephanie and Chris from Sethi's podcast, for example. This was a couple stuck in a massive avalanche of inaction. Ignoring their finances drove their fixed costs up to a suffocating 92%. I mean, Stephanie and Chris are in their 40s, they have 3 young kids, and they were sitting on $544,000 in debt because they refused to communicate honestly, and because Chris constantly deflected and minimized the issues, just assuming, oh, it'll all work out. They ended up running a monthly deficit of over $5,000. They had zero emergency fund, their fixed costs were completely out of control compared to that 50 to 60% target of the conscious spending plan we talked about earlier.
In Stethy's session with them, he really helped them realize that money isn't just math. It is deeply tied to how we were raised and our relationship dynamics. By simply stopping the avoidance and making some hard, decisive choices together, like cutting just $600 a month from their bloated overhead and reallocating that cash to their emergency fund and debt payoff, they completely changed the trajectory of their family's future. Just that one move created immediate breathing room for them.
So, the ultimate question you need to walk away with today is this. Are you just tracking numbers on a screen, or are you finally taking control to build your own rich life? Getting rich is not about giving up your daily latte or trying to outsmart the stock market. It's about knowing exactly what brings you joy, ruthlessly cutting costs on the things that don't, and setting up automated systems that guarantee your financial success while you literally sleep. The tools are right in front of you. It's time to stop agonizing over choices every single day and start actually designing the life you want to live. So what's your first move going to be?